Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. How are you? I am great. I hope you are too. Anyway, so I got a story for you, okay? Story starts in Mardi Gras in New Orleans. This is a Mardi Gras before Katrina, when New Orleans was still New Orleans, and it just was fun and full of excitement. And I was still young in my early 20s, and I was, at that time of my life, I was just looking for adventure and fun. And so I had never been to Mardi Gras, so I decided to go to Mardi Gras. But there was another thing going on. My aunt, she had twins and uh, um, a young son, twin little girls and a young son. And she really needed help. She really needed help at the time because she was trying to make money, and she's a tax accountant, so she needed to travel around and she couldn't, so she wanted me to come down there and help her with her children because that's where she lived, while she kind of rip and run to hustle and do people taxes and, make ends meet. So I decided to go down there and help my aunt because she's always there for me, so I'm going to always be there for her. So I go down there, had a blast, and now it's time for me to go home. And I had drove the Greyhound down there, and so I had to ride the Greyhound back. Anybody knows that when driving the Greyhound, you bound to meet crazy ass people or fine ass boys. So this trip was no exception. I get on the bus. On the bus from New Orleans, it kind of goes up to Mobile and then straight up Alabama, through Nashville, through Birmingham, through Nashville, through Louisville, Kentucky, to Indianapolis, to Chicago. So I was going back to Indianapolis. So it was just a straight shot up 65 north. And in Mobile, we stop at a bus station and this guy gets on. He is fine. Oh my God, he is a yellow bone. He got full sexy ass lips. Kind of look like a lighter version of, he has dreads, a lighter version of Waka Flocka. And he gets on the bus and I'm just hoping that he is going to sit by me. I'm so hoping that he's going to sit by me. He gets on with another guy and a lady, just some other people, and the other guy was brown skinned. He had dreads too, but they were short and he was kind of cockeyed. He was cute too. He was a cute guy. The other guy was cute, and he wasn't with Demetrius, which is the light skinned boy's name, but he was brown. The other boy was brown, cute lips, dreads, taller than Demetrius, but I wanted the fine one to sit next to me. So I'm sitting there. You know how you sit in your seat and you like, anybody, you can put your bags on the seat next to you and then move them when the person who you want to sit by, who you want to sit by you, comes by, and you can move them and give them the hint that that they can sit there. So I did that. And Demetrius sat by me. So, it was just a wonderful, wonderful trip once he sat next to me. And he was going to Birmingham from Mobile. So it was I had a short little, at least in this little trip from Birmingham to, what is it called? Mobile to Birmingham, I will have something delicious sitting next to me to entertain me with conversation. And that's exactly what he did. He was Southern, super, super Alabama accent. He was a aspiring rapper, and he was going to Birmingham, and we just conversated about where I was from, where I was going, and all the things that you can talk about in introduction. What you like, what you're into. Very flirtatious, very cute, very very sweet. Like, it was just super, super sweet. So me and him exchanged numbers. And at the end of the trip of him getting to Birmingham, he basically ended up telling me that he had a girlfriend. So I was like, oh, late. But we still exchanged numbers, and that it is what it is. So we're riding. I'm riding on the bus, finally sitting by myself, and we stop in Nashville. And somebody gets on the bus. Other people get on the bus. And somebody, remember I told you that Demetrius got on the bus with a brown skin guy that was cockeyed, but he was kind of cute though. He was cockeyed, but he was kind of cute. And he had a little short little dress, real dusty, cute, but you can still see his cuteness. Like, you look at him and you like, oh, he a little dusty, but he's cute. Just a cute boy. Somebody had sat in his seat. Somebody knew who was getting on the bus, had sat in his seat. And so, remember, Demetrius got off the bus. So now my seat is open. So the dude, little dusty dude with the dreads, sat next to me. And so when the bus started rolling, I asked him, I said, well, hey, how you doing? My name is Don. Nice to meet you. Just kind of making conversation. I wasn't flirting with him. It just was kind of making conversation. Immediately, when I say something to him, he responds back to me, but you can sense like this nervousness. You know, like, you know how like if you meet a guy, like if a guy is trying to come up to you and ask you out on a date, and you can just immediately see that he's nervous talking to you. This is what he was giving me. Like a really shy, nervous, intimidated a little bit guy. And when I sensed that, it was almost like adorable. Like, oh my God, he's really nervous talking to me. And I was like, you okay? Because he was rubbing his pants. Like, anytime I was asking him questions, he was rubbing his pants like just nervous. Like there was a just immense sense of nervousness about him. And it forced me, because I thought it was cute and adorable, because people have been attracted to me, but whatever this level of attraction and this type of shy, nervous guy, I never experienced this before. So it was cute. So I continued to talk to him because I wanted, the squirminess of him was turning me on. It was cute. And so I'm asking him, so where you from? And I was like, are you nervous? And he was like, well, a little bit. Like, I was like, why are you nervous? And he was like, well, you're a beautiful woman. I don't know. I'm just kind of nervous. I was like, don't be nervous. I'm just a regular person. Do you be okay? I was like, calm down. It's not that serious. So for the rest of the trip, because he was going to Louisville, Kentucky, and I was going to Indianapolis, and those are like hours apart. So most of the trip, he was with me. And once again, I'm in this wonderful conversation with another guy. And one thing that you got to understand about a trans woman's life, well, let me not say trans woman, my life as a trans woman, because every trans woman is not the same. But my life as a trans woman, one thing that I value, and I heard a lot of girls say this, so one thing that I value is just moments when you're just a regular girl. You're not a tranny to people. You're not this sexual deviant. You're not this misfit of changing from one gender, sensationalized and going to the next gender. And oh my God, this big deal. You're just a regular woman walking in the world, experiencing life as a woman. And those moments, like when you go to the grocery store and nobody knows your tea and they just think you're a girl, and you're just going through life and having those moments. And being on the bus, you have a lot of them moments because nobody knows your history. People are just talking to you and treating you like a woman. And it's just I love those moments in life. I love those moments. And this was one of those moments. So me talking to him, even talking to the guy previous to him, was just me exploiting that moments and reveling in the normalcy of that. And so just to give you some insight on how I was feeling, where some people, a cisgender person might take that for granted because they don't have to think about it. They don't have to, go through it because who they are is just, everything matched at birth and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so me and him had a wonderful conversation. And in, I want to say Nashville. Yes, it was Nashville. In Nashville, we had to get off the bus for a break. And when you have a little layover, you have like 30 minutes to 2 hours to, sometimes 3, to sit, get a break, get off the bus, get you something to eat, blah, 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 so the bus can get fueled, cleaned, pick up new passengers, blah, 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 blah. We had a break. We had a layover. So we were sitting. Me and him got off the bus, and we ended up going to this little restaurant across the street. Not a restaurant. It was like a gas station that had a restaurant in it. And so we sat there, we ordered our food, and he said he just was sitting there, and he was still rubbing his pants, still talking, but still nervous. And so I took my hands and I put them on his hands, and I stopped his hand from going back and forth on his legs. And I said, "Stop being nervous. I'm a regular person. We've been talking for hours. Stop." And he has this cute smile. It's so cute. The more I talk to him, the cuter he gets. Like, it just, oh my God, this little crooked ass smile, and he has some pretty ass lips, and he just started, the more I talk to him, it's just the more like attracted I am to him. And so we eat and we end up getting back on the bus. What I learned about him is that he's actually from Miami, and he's in Job Corps in Kentucky, and he's learning, learning a trade, and it is what it is. So not far from me, not far. And we exchange numbers. Once he gets off the bus in Louisville, we exchange numbers and decide to talk. We end up going to, once I got back to Indianapolis, at this time in my life, I had custody of my brother. And I had my own place with my brother on the south side of Indianapolis. And, I was living, I was hustling, I was doing what I can, using what I got to get what I want, to take care of me and my brother. At that time, and I want to give you kind of the background of my mindset. When I got my brother, nobody really wanted me to take custody of my brother. Now, I want you to, y'all seen the interview between me and my brother. I'm going to link it down in the bottom if you want to see it. But if you remember, there was an incident between my family when my mother knew she was going to get locked up and go to prison. None of my family jumped up and volunteered to take my brother on and take the responsibility of him. And my brother asked, who did he want to go with when it comes to who did he want to stay with, or who did he want to be his guardian? And he chose me. The only responsible, non-drunk, non-drug using person in my life, in my family. And my mother had this big issue about him choosing me. And he ended up going to my grandmother, who was on drugs. Blah, 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 blah. The video is in the bottom. Anyway, at that time, it turned into a challenge for me. Like, I am going to take care of my brother. He's going to have everything in the world. I'm going to buy all his school clothes. I'm going to make sure he's fly and clean, haircut every week. It turned into a prove a motherfucker wrong thing. And that's what it turned into for me. So everything I did, from hustling to working a job, escorting, whatever I did, it was to prove a point to people who did not want me to have my brother. He had everything he wanted for Christmas, everything he wanted for his birthday. I just worked hard to take care of my brother. And so I was single. I was in my early 20s. I had been trans enough to be passable and be, live that normalcy as a woman, but still just realizing that, understand, this is my early 20s. During that time, as a trans woman, you just begin to realize, I know I did, I don't know about anybody else, I just began to realize that the fantasy world of I'm going to meet a man that's going to love me and fall in love with me, just like any other woman, that fantasy world was coming. It wasn't coming, it was there. That was a fantasy world. You are not going to meet a man that is going to fall in love with you in the same way as a regular woman. It is not going to be that easy. Yes, you can find it, but at this time in my early 20s, I was learning that, sweetie, at this time, because of the choices that you made and how you decided to live your truth prevents a lot of things when it comes to love. So I was really bitter, even at a young age. Really, that realization made me really bitter, angry at the world. But there still was a slither of hope. And talking to Jonathan was the dude on the Greyhound, the cute little nervous, shy guy. Talking to Jonathan was that slither of hope. We went through all the traditional trans stuff where I had to spill my tea. I was super nervous, and you know how you go through all the things that you can say. Well, I'm a special kind of girl. All this kind of stuff, all the things that you can say, all the euphemisms of transgender that you can think of, all the things that you can say that's positive to try to give it a positive, great sounding spin. I went through all of those things with him, and he was shocked, but he didn't get off the phone. He continued to talk to me and continued to ask questions and to get understanding, and it was the beginning of the greatest love of my life. Like, it was, I can't even, I fell in love with him harder than I have ever except for maybe my mother and my little brother. Those are the only two people in my life that I feel like I fell in love with harder. Yeah, I loved him. And it was beautiful. And it was the first time that I had ever been in a mutual love where he loved me and I loved him. Once he graduated from the little Job Corps and got his trade, he ended up moving in with me. And he got a job, and it was beautiful. We stayed in the house, same house together, taking care of bills, working, having fun, playing video games. Going out to dinner. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. What I came to find out is that, and it explained everything, he was a virgin. He had never had sex with anybody. And to me, it took me all the way back to those high school days with Eric, where I was trying to pacify him and with different excuses of all this kind of bullshit. Him being a virgin scared me. It kind of scared me in a sense, because it let me know that because you've never experienced a regular woman, that there was a possibility that the curiosity about that would come. So before I fell in love with him, before any of that happened, I said, oh no, you need to get you some pussy. I was young, and I felt like you need to get you some pussy, because I don't want you to be curious about it. I want you to feel and know the difference, because I'm confident in my good stuff that you're gonna want this. So I want you to get some pussy before I fall in love with you. I'm giving you permission. I want you to do it. This is no setup. I don't want you to think this is a trick. I want you to get you some pussy. I want you to feel how it feels so you can make the decision that this is where you want to be. So get you some pussy. Do you want to do that? Let's make that happen. He was like, no. I love you. And I that don't matter to me. And blah, 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 blah. Boy, look. I don't want to take that experience from you. Pussy is a beautiful thing. Yes, it is. I know it is. I want you to get you some. I want you to get you some. But he refused to try to get him some pussy. So, of course, us being together, us doing all of this stuff, of course, we fall in love with each other. I'm in love with him. He is mine. But I'm not happy with him. Because he doesn't intellectually stimulate me. I don't know. I was feeling like I was feeling like I was the president of a relationship and not the vice president. If that makes sense. Like, in a relationship, there's a head. You know, this is just my mind. I don't want to say that, because that's that binary thinking and that misogynistic thinking and those whole traditions. And I don't want to think like that, but I'm telling you how I thought and what I want in my relationship. I want my man to be the head of my household, and even though he leads the household, he respects my mind and my goals and my intelligence and my reason enough to include who I am and what I want. And we've had enough conversation for him to know that in our decision making. That's what I want. I want him to lead, but I want him to lead with the intention of us, not the intention of him. Hope that makes sense. So I don't want to be the president of our relationship. I don't want to be the one who makes all the decisions. I don't want to, you just do what I tell you to do. That's not the type of man that I want. Now, I don't want a man that is a dictator. I want my opinion and my needs and my wants to be weighed in on the decision making. I want that. So in this particular relationship, I felt like the president. I felt like everything that I said that I wanted him to do, he would do. Not that that's a problem. It's just that there's no help in the decision making. There's no He's not contributing any thought process of where our life is going, what the future is going to hold. He's just not, oh, babe, what you want me to do? So how you want me to do it? It's just never anything that comes money situation. He had an issue with his job where I ended up having him quit his job because they was being really, really racist, and they owed him money, and I had to go to the job and threaten the guy to get his money. I don't like that. I don't mind. I want to ride and die for mine, but I want to be your side person that got your back. I want you to be the one that's doing the fighting, whatever. So it started to be really weird. Also, I felt weird when I had outings with my friends, and because he wasn't from where I'm from, he didn't have any friends. And me being a trans woman, I don't want a bunch of people in my house that may not know my tea. And, like he would meet people at his job, but they couldn't, I would tell him I don't want them coming to my house because what if they clock me? And all this kind of stuff. And that could make a problem for you at your job. And no. So it started to be this thing where I only have friends and he didn't. So I wanted him to get some friends. And so I told him, look, I want you to get some friends. I don't want you to just be stuck up in the house with me, hanging out with me and my girlfriend and they boyfriends. I don't know. I just wanted, the relationship started to not be horribly bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was lovely. But there started to be elements of it that I was uncomfortable with. And I felt because I started thinking in my mind, because I was a trans woman, that I settled for him. There was not any other options. Everybody else is either down low freaks trying to pay you for some sex or trying to get some sex for free. There was nobody who was trying to love me. So he was my option, my only option. So I felt like I was settling, but you're settling. Like you said, settling means you settled on something, but you didn't try to, whatever. I didn't have any other option. So I felt like I chose him, and something about that didn't sit well with me. And it started to feel weird. So he got another job, and he found some friends at his job. And his name was Chuck. Chuck was cute. Not something that I would mess with, or treat on my boyfriend with at all. Plus, I was madly in love. I felt the love thing. I wouldn't cheat on him. So even though I felt some elements were wrong, I still loved him. Definitely, 100%. And I want you to understand that it wasn't just, this is the first time somebody would be in public holding my hand proudly as we walked around. That hadn't happened to me before. Going to my family functions and proudly just sitting with my uncles and shit, yeah, that's bad. Shit like that. So I want you to understand that there was things about him that I feel like it's going to be hard for me to replace, even now at this age. I still haven't found anybody that was on that level of strength with him. Him and Chuck started smoking weed together now. I am not a smoker. I don't smoke weed. I haven't smoked weed since I was in high school, and I stopped after high school. And I don't like the smell in my house, and I don't really want my boyfriend to smoke weed. But if he does, it's not really a deal breaker, but I really didn't want that. But because he finally had some new friends, I was like, fuck it. Go smoke. Go do whatever you want to do. Just get the fuck out of my face. Because I now I got some time to sit at home and lay or go out with my friends. And, it started to be he had a hobby. He had some people to hang out with. So ever since he got off the bus to come stay with me, there was not one day that I did not spend the night with him in my bed. We were together all the time. And he was my comfort. I was his. There was not one night. So this one weekend, it was a Friday, he said that we had all the bills were paid. He said that he and Chuck and some friends from work were going to rent a hotel and, play cards, smoke, and da-da-da-da-da, and cool. So I want you to kind of understand where my mindset was. I'm not the type of, now I am, but previously, there was a naivety about me where I felt like if you didn't give me a reason not to trust you, then I'm going to trust you. At no point had he given me a reason not to trust him to do things. That was, we've been together for 2 years and there was no reason for me to think that he would be doing something shady. So when he told me this, it just went in my ear and said, okay, baby. That's it. It was, I didn't think anything of it. The bitterness of womanhood hadn't creeped into me. Of a woman scorned. I hadn't had a man do anything to me to make me have any thoughts about what could have happened. Anyway, so this is Friday. And I'm on the computer. And Friday night, he doesn't come home. Now remember, he said they was getting a hotel. And so I expect him not to come home Friday night. So Saturday, he comes home and he comes upstairs. He gives me a kiss on my cheek. And I tell him that I had cooked something yesterday night and it's in the refrigerator if he wants to eat. I'm still on the computer doing something. I can't remember what I was doing. And we are all, and I'm just kind of doing shit, like, upstairs in my bedroom. And he had came up, gave me a kiss. So I thought he was downstairs fixing something to eat or whatever. So, like, I'm on the computer for an hour and a half, 2 hours go by. And he doesn't come upstairs from downstairs. Like, I'm like, I know he came back because remember I told you he kissed me on my cheek. And this is Saturday. And so I go downstairs and to see where he's at. And I go downstairs and nobody's down there. He's gone. So I'm looking around and the door of the closet downstairs where he keeps his things is open. So I go to close the door and I look in there and all of his clothes are gone. So I go upstairs and get on the phone and I call Chuck. I have Chuck's number. And no answer. No answer. So I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, this is weird as fuck. It's not like, we had gotten an argument. It's not like anything. But I'm thinking, like, why did you need... In my mind, I'm thinking, like, maybe he just took all his clothes. I wasn't thinking anything bad yet. I wasn't thinking anything bad. It just was weird. Like, why would he take all his clothes? That's weird to me. Strange. So, and we've been together for 2.5 years. I want you to clock that. So, Saturday, I'm calling his phone. No answer. Call Chuck's phone. No answer. Now it's weird. Now I'm getting pissed off. I'm worried. I'm kind of scared. Now I'm like, what could be possibly going on? What the fuck? So Sunday morning comes. I had called my friend and told her what was going on. I was like, all his stuff is gone. And I'm like, I don't. And she was like, did y'all get into it? I was like, no, we didn't get into it. He kissed me on my cheek and went back downstairs, and it is what it is. So I get a call on the phone. I pick up the phone and it's him. He's like, hey. I'm like, hey. He was like, I was like, what's wrong? What's going on? He was like, I know you're not going to take me back. So when you hear that, if anybody been through this, there is like this heat that comes over your body and your heart sinks, and it's that your stomach twists, and it's like it's, you know that feeling if you've been in it. It's like a drop, like it just drains you. And basically he tells me that he messed around with this chick, and he wanted to call me and tell me. He wanted to call me and tell me, just to be honest about it. And he already had bought his ticket to go back home to his parents because he knows how I am, and he knows that I'm not going to forgive him, and shit is not going to be the same after this. So he already has bought his ticket to go home on Monday. So I was like, who is the chick? And he tells me who the chick was. She came all the way from Michigan City, and she came down. She was one of Chuck's friends, homegirl, and he was like, he really regretted and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, but I told you early in our relationship that if you wanted to mess around and see, because his thing was, it just got heated, and he had never done it before, all this kind of shit. And I was like, I told you that you could do it early in our relationship before I was in love with you. And then now that we're deep in this relationship, you cheat on me because you were curious. Like, really, dude? Like, really? And so at this point, now I'm crying. Crying. I had never felt this feeling of heartbreak, and oh my God. This was late. This feeling was late. Whatever this human emotion is the latest of them all. It was horrible. So I asked him where he was. I really wanted to twirl him. I want to know where you are. Is she still in the city? Oh, she's not. Damn, I want to twirl her too. Even though she ain't got no obligations to me. Now that I'm a grown woman, I understand that. But as a young woman and as a teenager, nah. You get twirled too, bitch. So, where are you at? So I call my friend, my down-ass friend. And she's trans woman too. I tell her what happened, and she is devastated because she knows how much I love him, how much he loved me. And she's like, oh my God. She said, of all people, shit, I would have thought my boyfriend would have cheated on me before yours. And now, I'm going. I was like, that motherfucker, I met him when he was raggedy on a fucking Greyhound. Look how I got him looking now. I done taught his ass how to dress. His hair done got... Cause when I met him, he was just a dusty, raggedy ass nigga. So coming into my world, I'm gonna recreate you. Got his motherfucking hair looking fly, dreads growing all the way down to here. Hair, just... everything about him I done revamped and recreated into this sexy ass 6'2" chocolate fine thing. But when I met you, you was a dusty, dirty ass bum on the bus. So I'm going off. She done came and picked me up and we're headed to the hotel that he says he was at. Oh, Lord, I'm saying, in my mind, I'm like, as soon as I come through the door, he get these motherfucking hands. Fuck that. This motherfucker, I done did this, I done did that, and blah, 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 blah. I am ready to twirl the fuck out of this motherfucker. So, she comes into the, we pull into the hotel. Now, I have on sweats, my hair is tied up, and blah, 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 blah. And I come into the hotel room, he's by himself, and I close the door, and I'm like, so what the fuck? And everything inside of me, prior to coming in that door, wanted to fight. When I came into that door, everything in that motherfucking... that all went away. I don't know what happened, but I started to cry. He started to hug me and kiss me, and all of a sudden we got to fucking. Tell me how that happened. I don't fucking know to this day. But it was some of the best sex we had our whole relationship. But I was still angry after it, but I ended up fucking him. And we end up going back to my house and just talking and talking more. And I end up being I'm a natural born psychologist. I end up asking him questions about the first time he had sex. I wanted to know, how did it feel? Because as a person of trans experience, I had never had pussy before. So being that you were a virgin, this is your time having pussy, tell me about it. Cool, I'm curious about it too. Tell me the tea. And he was like, it feels good. He was like, it feels good. But I don't know. He was like, I don't know. And I was like, did you nut? He was like, nah, I didn't nut. I was like, did she suck your dick? And he was like, yeah, but I had to stop her because her head was kind of... And so I would go through these spurts of curiosity to anger and we would argue and we would go. I was like, why would you do this? Like, I'm asking him, why would you do this? And I was like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand me. Why was I not wanting to twirl you? And why was I not wanting to not be with you? Why was I trying to fix this? Like, I was trying to fix it. Like, I didn't know. And when Monday came, when it was time for his bus, to leave, he was packing his stuff up. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm about to lose the love of my life. Like, it was, I didn't know. All I know is I didn't want him to go. Even though I was angry about him cheating on me, even though I wanted to fight him, even though I just know I would never trust him, all I wanted to do at that moment that he was packing his shit up is convince him not to go. That's it. I wanted to convince him not to go. he still was packing. He was like, I know you ain't never gonna love me the same. I know that it's just gonna be different. I know I know I have to go. And all of a sudden, like any type of pride, any type of reservation, anything that would stop me just went away, and I just begged him. This dusty ass dude on the bus that I created into this nice looking man that just cheated on me, I am holding his hand, begging him to stay with me. Don't go. I didn't do anything wrong, but I am the person begging him, please, don't go. Don't leave me. He grabs his bag. He's going out the door. I'm following him, holding his hand, holding his arm, crying, don't go. Don't go. Don't leave me. We can get over this. I can forgive you. I don't know how the tables turned. I don't know how it turned into me being the one who didn't do anything wrong, begging him to stay with me. It was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. It taught me a lot about what I needed, what I wanted, how important love was to me. As much as I could say fuck it, subconsciously, it just wasn't true. I didn't want to just say fuck it. All that bullshit that I was feeling about him being inadequate mentally, everything, I wanted it at that time, and I didn't want him to leave. And he got on the bus and he left. Now, he ended up coming back. But he was right. He was totally right. Once he came back and I got him back and he was in my house, nothing was ever the same. Nothing was ever the same. The love unraveled. Unraveled. There was nothing there. By the end of our relationship, it was nothing there. So much stuff happened. But I'll tell y'all that later. This is your girl Diamond. Thank y'all for watching.